Welcome to the Unchecked Sports Pod, where we aren't verified public figures on social media, but we are obsessed sports fans with lots and lots of opinions. We are recording on Tuesday, September 10th. My name is Jordan Redding, and I'm here with my co-host, Austin Jarvis. Austin, tell me about what happened in the world of sports this week.
Well, we know football's back because my mental health is just up and down again with fantasy, man.
Peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. Yeah, man.
It was great. I rode some highs and rode some lows.
5 straight days of football was pretty nice.
It was
though.
awesome.
I'm not going to lie.
I loved it. I loved it. When I was like Friday football, it was great. I was so happy that football so much. It was just a great way to come back to the season.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot agree more. I almost would like for them to kind of keep that going.
They should. Why not?
Have a Friday night game, take away an 11 a.m. game, and make it a
fine
Friday
with
night
that.
one. Yeah. It's just then you get into like more short week, long week stuff, right? But
It's all right. They're athletes. Just
that's
kidding.
True. That's true. Well, in the NFL, like what piqued your interest? What was going on?
I think that what took me by the surprise the most was just how bad the Bengals were doing. I think that's what just surprised me the most.
Yeah, that was my biggest betting loss. I was telling you earlier, I had some real wins and real losses. I ended up at the exact amount that I started with.
I ended up negative.
Yeah, but a big part of that is like after the first 2 drives when the Bengals were down, I was like, oh, they're going to rally. And so I put like $10 on them, just money line even, because I was going to win. I mean,
FanDuel had a profit boost, so you know it always sucks you in.
Yeah, and it was... They looked really bad.
Awful.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Jamar pretty much had to learn the playbook like 30 minutes before, like
it's
not showing up, all this really, really, really messed with that.
I guess I am forgetting, or I just don't understand the point of preseason if you're not going to play and then you're going to come out looking not good. Right?
Yeah.
Because didn't Burrow not play all of preseason?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then
Which,
Chase,
like, I get it. You're injury prone, but like...
You got a few snaps.
Series.
Yeah,
exactly.
you got to play a few snaps to at least get back
man.
in the swing. And then, like, Chase not even showing up to practice. And then
Dude,
when he
crazy.
does, he shows up late in street clothes. And then he practices the day before the game.
Yeah.
And then he's questionable day before.
Yeah.
So I just think, I mean, that was your AFC North log. How are you feeling after that situation?
I think they're going to rally. I think it's literally they're going to lose probably 3 games in the first 6 just because of they didn't do the preseason. I mean, it's not that they didn't do like the practices, but just I think you need that gameplay against not your defense, and I think that's
No, I agree with you 100%.
So.
I do think that they'll bounce back, but it's just how long will it take them to regain their steps?
Yeah. I don't know. I still think that they could take it. Although, I mean, I feel like there were a lot of the week went a lot different than I was expecting.
Right? What were some that surprised you?
Saquon.
Oh,
I think
my
surprised me a lot.
goodness.
Like that. I mean, that very
Walking
first,
all over the Packers.
Yeah, it was. I mean, not the Packers have typically had a bad run defense, and that obviously is still true to form. I feel like they did a pretty good job against Hurts.
I think so. And they he fumbled a tush push.
Yeah, he fumbled a tush push. They don't have that. They stopped him on a tush push.
Well,
I mean,
it's
they need
because
Jason
Kelsey's
Kelce.
gone.
Yeah.
And Hurts was talking about how he knows that, like, he knew Kelsey was going to leave, so he tried to build this relationship. But when you play with a guy for 3-4 years and it's someone as good as Jason Kelce, you can't just switch like, oh, our bond is so good that we built in practice that it's going to transfer to the game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it definitely was. There's some growing pains with that team, and they definitely miss Kelsey. You can tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, Saquon looked incredible.
Oh, I mean,
know.
It just receiving and rushing.
Yeah.
That was what was even wilder. Was he was such a threat on both sides of the field.
I don't know that. I didn't think he was washed. I never thought that.
He just needed an O-line.
To me, it's can you stay healthy? So
that
I mean,
too, yeah.
he could look great for 5 weeks, and then if he has a season-ending injury, it's like, is it worth it?
Are you going to tweak your ankle and all of a sudden be out 4 weeks?
Exactly, and I think that's where the Giants were like, for the money that you want, you just don't play enough. Like, and that's where the Bengals with Jamar Chase were probably kind of like that. Like, hey, dude.
Well, you need to do something for us to show that, like, we want to invest in you.
Yeah.
But you need to show us that you're going to stay healthy for this money.
Yeah. I also I'm gonna claim a victory in the Ravens read option being awesome.
Oh my gosh, I know.
I have both of those guys. I have Henry and Lamar, and in the league
How
I've been in the
gross was
longest,
that,
and Lamar ended up with like over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
It ruled. Henry had
and
a
like
solid
250
game.
passing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he had a good amount of passing yards.
He looks good, better than Mahomes.
Yeah, and which was crazy because I was like, Mahomes always has good week ones.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not. I think Xavier Worthy is looking really
what a dog,
good.
and from my boy from Texas.
Yeah.
Hook 'em. Oh,
Hook
I
'em,
found
jeez.
out that Scotty Scheffler was a Texas graduate.
He's a Longhorn.
Yeah, he's Longhorn. So
I
that
feel
makes
I've
me
heard
like
that actually.
that makes me like Texas even more.
Yeah, are you gonna watch the Scotty and McElroy?
Oh,
versus
yes.
DeChambeau and
That's gonna be
Koepka? That'll
awesome.
be cool. Although I feel like Brooks might be the weak link in that.
That's yeah.
group.
I was
Although
like,
Rory's kind of real hit or miss.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Hitting
how many
in the
times
water.
can you not even make top 10 in a tournament and still be the face of the PGA? It's crazy.
Let's ask Rory because he's doing it.
Yeah, what'd you think of? I mean, let's talk through. I think you had the Lions winning the NFC North.
I do, yeah.
What'd you
and
feel about?
I'm
about that?
mad because
Yeah.
their passing game was non-existent, and on top of like for the pure fact of like they were my pick.
Yeah.
I also have a Monra in one of my
Oh,
leagues.
he didn't do anything. He
No,
was just hanging
and
out.
I actually, so this is why I say my mental health up and down. I was winning this week. I had a like 85% like chance to win, and then Amon Ra 2.8 points, and the dude I'm playing only has a defense left, only a defense,
Dang.
49ers defense, and I lose by like 1.5 points, and I am so furious.
Yeah, the Lions. They looked. I mean,
They
they're-
looked unsure of what they're doing.
Yeah. I, as someone who in the league that you and I are in together went all in on the Rams offense, I was like, pretty good choice.
How do you feel?
Pretty good. Like Cooper Kupp in like the 6th round, I'm feeling pretty good about. Especially once Puka goes out, now it's like cool. I'll bench Puka. I'll put in someone else, and I was a little. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like just overall reactions to the week, I felt like the Texans' offense was underwhelming.
Yeah,
and I really wanted them to be like huge play.
They
should
should have scored more.
Level. Yeah,
but I also
Diggs looked great.
He did. I was gonna say
Looked
he had
great.
2 touchdowns,
Yeah.
and Nico had over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah,
So it's like
Dell looked explosive when he got the ball. He's not going to get the same amount of touches.
yeah,
so.
and Mixon, surprisingly, I could not
gosh.
believe how good he was doing.
So my wife is very good at fantasy, and has won
she is.
multiple leagues. Is
She's
very
never
very good.
beaten me in fantasy though. I just want to
Dang,
put
I'm
that on
telling
the
her that. I'm
record.
telling her that at dinner.
She will tell you straight up she hates playing me in fantasy because I always win.
Oh,
It's
man.
crazy.
So she has always like her workhorse. I mean, somehow she would always end up with 2 players, Keenan Allen and Joe Mixon, every year.
Yeah.
Somehow she would always end up with those 2 guys. And T.Y. Hilton too, when he was a thing. Like she just had these players that she would ride to success, and so she is the Mixon apologist, and just felt so good because I think she has them again this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does too. And
like.
he
looked good. Those are
so
big old
good.
holes by that offensive line, and he was running downhill, destroying some
And
DBs. I mean,
it just makes me wonder how corrupt the Bengals might actually be because those last couple years for him were not that great.
well, I think they decided to put more of an emphasis on the passing game.
Yeah.
which, not the end of not the worst idea
No, it's
in
not.
today's NFL, but I mean, you really need to be able to do both because
Exactly.
you need play action to open up the passing. I mean, it is hard to. There's a reason that no one just goes 5 wide all 3. You know what I mean? Every down, like
No shotguns?
yeah, I mean, even that, like have a running back there to block. Have him there to do
You know
something.
the Eagles run 93% of their snaps at the shotgun.
I could see that. Yeah, they kind of
That's-
seem like that.
And especially with Saquon now, that read option, they're going to have a deadly read option too.
Yeah. I mean, and man, did Saquon look good? So it was a good week. I feel like for power backs. For like the big run downhill backs.
And I'm trying to think.
Pollard randomly.
Yeah,
had a
Pollard.
really big week.
We
Like,
have
he
a
looked
decided
good.
number 1. Like that was who I
Yeah.
was not expecting.
Yeah.
Like that Titans game. Let's just talk about that,
That
man.
was weird. That was
How
weird.
17-0.
Yeah.
You're winning, and then all of a sudden you lose to an offense that doesn't score a touchdown.
Yeah. It's
And
like
Caleb looked not good.
they could have just punted. on first down every drive and giving it to Caleb Williams and won that game. It went from like Will Levis, all right, like this is cool, to being like, oh.
Did you see him doing that like surrendering cobra?
No, what?
Oh my god. So there was like a pick or something, and like they were running, and he's just in the middle of the field doing the surrender cobra, like on the ground.
So
he's
funny.
like on his knees doing this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that I'll have to show you. But
how are you feeling about America's team right now?
Gross.
Yeah.
They still suck.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I will say the Browns defense, it was pretty formidable.
Yeah.
Did Garrett get me a lot of points in yards?
I think so. Yeah. Because he got a sack.
Is TJ Watt not a defensive end?
He's not.
I was looking everywhere because he had a game, dude.
Yeah.
And like I was like, how is TJ Watt not like?
So what's crazy is I don't understand how Yahoo doesn't, because he's listed exactly.
He's a defensive end.
So I don't understand, and I tried so hard to find it and all this, and I don't. And I'm gonna boost their points a little bit because I thought it was going to score higher than 4 points for some of them.
Yeah.
Some people got 17, but it was on their bench. The Russo or whatever from the Bills?
Wait, someone has a backup defensive player?
Yeah.
I just took I'll just take Garrett, and then if Garrett goes out, then I'll put him on IR.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
then I'll take someone else.
I took Will Anderson Jr., and I'm like, that's my only defensive player.
Yeah.
I'm not taking another one.
No. They didn't look like they would score enough points, and so I wouldn't change it. No. It was set at a certain amount, and maybe change it.
Well, yeah, because
I guess it still helps the people whose players do well too. Never mind, change it. That'd be fun. Yeah, Garrett gets me 30, that would rule.
Oh god.
But yeah, I feel like
the Browns, they're starting to just.
Yeah, Judy had that one.
I was gonna say
touchdown.
he got his
that
touchdown,
was it, though.
and
that's all.
That's
he
my
did the whole
boy.
game.
Yeah.
He's a good route runner.
He is.
That's what everyone will say.
See, and that's what was so good about him is you can run a route, but you got to catch the ball for the route.
Yeah. I think speaking of catching, Kadarius Toney, isn't he on a practice squad somewhere?
He
now?
just actually signed with the Browns last night.
Browns, all right. So they got 2 of them. All right.
And then they have Amari Cooper. So what's going on? I don't know why they're signing so many wide receivers.
I mean, I don't know. Probably want to get Deshaun the best weapons they can get him because
Massage Watson.
Yeah, I don't know. That is looking like the worst trade of all time.
Yeah, worst contract of all time. First, like his 100% guaranteed. The trade especially.
Bronco fans, obviously you're more.
We almost
traded
Denver.
For him, but we also we felt really taken by the Russell Wilson trade. Which, by the way, what's going on with him? We'll get to Russell Wilson in a second, but this Deshaun trade seems so much worse than that.
Yeah, because
with
honestly,
the money paid too, and they can't get out of that contract.
They can't. You can't get out of it. And then, look at the Texans right now, and then look at the Browns. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what they got in the trade, but I would consider the Texans in a better position than the Browns are.
The Texans got 8 players.
Including
because they've gone through all those picks now, including Tank Dell is one of them.
That's what I thought. They got
some pretty big players on their defense. They have won that. The amount of talent they brought in, and then they were able to get C.J. Stroud, and with Stroud looking good at first,
he looks so good.
But Russell Wilson, in full pads,
that was
with
weird.
A calf injury, so he's out, and it's
because he said he was ready to go.
Yeah, what's going on?
I
don't like it.
I don't like it either.
But also, we told you as Broncos fans, we told you. He was not good.
What? Well, we'll see next week. What if he comes here? I was thinking about putting a bet that he goes for 302 touchdowns.
That'd be interesting.
That's what I'm saying. What if he?
I would definitely bet against that. I feel like he's gonna go for if he plays 125 and
2 interceptions.
Yeah, 1 interception, no touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. It would be Naheem will get the touchdown rushing. No.
I don't know. Yeah,
Warren will get the.
That was such an interesting game because Bijan, on the Falcons side, their offense was not going nowhere. Our boy Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown finally.
Yeah, but Cousins didn't look good.
He didn't
He did
at
not
all,
look good
and
at all.
he didn't look at Pitts for a while. If I'll be honest, he only had 2 receptions for a while.
I thought it was going to be hey, new quarterback, the game plan is get it to Pitts.
Yeah,
get
for
it,
real.
Throw it high where only he can get it and just put him in positions to make plays. And they did not do that.
No,
Instead, it was like a handed off to Bijan, but Bijan wasn't that. He ran for like 60 yards. Like,
yeah, and I mean, he was explosive on the receiving end. He had over 40 receiving yards. So he had the all-purpose yard, or like, but it was just. Yeah,
I thought Algier looked better running, honestly. Like,
don't say that. My name is on my team is Obi-Jan Kenobi.
I mean, it's a good name.
That was my
I think
first
everyone was
overall
expecting
pick.
him. So, I in my dynasty league year 1 had the number 1 overall pick. This is Bijan year, right? Last year, and ended up trading that for Derrick Henry and some picks. Traded Henry and all of that, and I ended up instead of with Bijan with Devon Achane, who I believed in forever and who is awesome. 22 points in fantasy, running all over the place. Somehow Jeff Wilson Jr. became a thing, and I was a little upset with that, but they committee it, but Achane's number 1 in the committee. I think he started. I don't think Mostert started.
Mostert isn't getting touches no more, and I don't think
he got a few, but he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he's not going to get he'll get a few to give Achane that break, but I don't think that I really don't think that Mostert's going to be a thing this year.
No, nor did I. And I thought that he was going to be, maybe the handcuffed Achane. Like if he went out, maybe could pop for a few games. But Achane looking good. Miami's offense looked solid.
Jump into Miami. That started out 14-0.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a
I had
deal.
no faith in Jacksonville. I was like, nope. I was betting heavy Miami when Jacksonville was up.
What was the odds? Do you remember? Was it plus?
I was going so nuts on it. But no, they were on just even money line were crazy plus. I think I got them at like plus maybe 2 something when they were down because it was 17-0 I think at one point. And
I should have jumped on that.
But I did that same thing for the Bengals and it bit me. So I mean, like you win some, you lose some.
Exactly.
Literally.
But so if it was 17-0 at one point, 20 unanswered points.
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. What a breakdown for Jacksonville.
It was bad. And honestly, I don't want to call out one single player, but Trevor Lawrence in that game. So brief aside on that, the new YouTube TV where you can choose your multi-view and the fact that I have a very large TV in there. And it rules so hard. You do red zone in one corner, and then you can choose the games depending on
that's awesome.
For the 11 a.m. games, when you're in multiple fantasy leagues, you have a lot going on, and I always want red zone on. But sometimes there are games where I wanted to watch the Broncos game, in totality, and I wanted to watch the Dolphins game in totality, and so it was it's the best. YouTube is the best thing that ever happened to the NFL. I'm so happy for it. But getting back to what was I just talking about before?
Miami, the Jacksonville T-Law.
Oh, yeah. So Trevor Lawrence was hitting Christian Kirk in the hands over and over and over. I saw 3 drops.
Telling you, Christian Kirk is toxic.
I couldn't believe it because it was like, at first I was like, Trevor, get this first down. And he would hit him in the hands. And it would just, nope, couldn't get it. And so.
I've been saying Christian Kirk is fantasy cancer. Yeah. And now he's in, it proves that he's on top of it. A game, he affects the game pretty bad.
I think it also, indicates the rise of the Gabe Davis stock.
Gabe Davis, baby, your best receiver on your dynasty league. Marvin Harrison didn't do nothing.
A UCF shirt. My brother and sister both graduated from University of Central Florida, and that is where Gabe Davis is from. So it's always good to see a Florida product back in Florida. But yeah, man, it. I don't know. I feel like there were so many surprises. Baker, MVP.
What did I say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
You were right.
Baker is looking like a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And he's a dog.
Yeah.
Absolute dog. 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's the 5th time he's done that in his career, and I'm pretty sure that's all with Tampa.
Yeah, I don't know that he may have had 1.
Maybe. Yeah. So if you think about it, if he had 1 in the Browns, we'll give him 1.
Right.
He had 4 last year. 3 last year, and then this would have been his 4th.
It's almost like, imagine him on the Browns with Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. I think he'd be good.
I think so too, but
Deshaun.
I just think there's something about this Tampa. I think the new scenery and like this Tampa Bay team is Baker.
Yeah, and I mean less commercials,
exactly. I don't see him on Hulu anymore
for a while.
Yeah, and I think he kind of like took a step back and realized he might become Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What's crazy is 100% of everyone that I've heard who's been like a former teammate. Everyone loves him. Like he is
Manziel or
beloved.
Baker?
Not Manziel.
I was like,
yeah,
really?
No one liked Manziel. And now Manziel's like on Club Shay Shay.
Yeah, and he's talking about I never watched film.
Yeah, and he was like, this was supposed to be my path the whole time. It's like, all right.
All right.
Although he did say one thing I thought that was very interesting about Tim Tebow, how he was like more meant to be this like motivational person that he is now versus an NFL quarterback, and it's like, probably was born for that. He got a platform. He's a solid dude. He's an absolute unit.
Yeah, he's a massive man.
Gosh.
Massive.
He is like as big as a Watt brother. You know what I mean? Like he's a big old boy. But yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels looked solid. Not the McLaurin start that I wanted and expected. I thought he was going to be so good.
I put a bet in that he was going to have over 50 yards.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you had 3?
Yeah, I had him as like a top 10 receiver. This year. As like a quarterback, he's been good with. I mean, some pretty
That's what I was thinking.
Questionable quarterback play, and so I was like
12 plus quarterbacks for your career, and then you finally have a quarterback, and now nothing happens.
But Daniels looked all right.
Yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, those rookie quarterbacks all struggled, and he was definitely one of them. And I think another one that's going to hit a little close to home is your boy Bo.
I was right. What'd I say?
It's game 1, man. Peyton Manning still has the record for most interceptions in a rookie year. I thought there were times where that offense looked good. I thought one of the biggest struggles is that they don't really have. Mims might be the closest. You need a slot guy that can just get open. 4-yard, because it looked like that line looked like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, it was awful. And I'll be honest, I think what really, really, really made me just think, Bo Nix, what the hell, is when you're staring down your receiver for 3.5 seconds, hitching it 3 times, same way, and then you still throw it to the same guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, there's 4 guys trailing you at that point, and that's why you just got picked off.
He'll learn it, though. I mean, in contrast to Matt Stafford, who's like the no-look pass king.
Yeah.
Like just throwing dimes while he'd look this way and just throw a dime.
Matthew Stafford is
on the numbers. He's so good. Yeah, and easily, and thank goodness he won his 1 Super Bowl.
That's what I was thinking. He needed it.
And they could make a run again this year. I mean,
they could, yeah. They look like it. And, I mean, just going back to the Broncos, I think that we looked like hot garbage. I'm gonna say it. Like we did look like hot garbage, and I mean,
it wasn't the offensive step up that I wanted.
It wasn't because the split. So Jaleel McLaughlin actually had more touches than Javonte.
I wonder if they're easing him back, or if
that's what I was wondering,
or if it's situational. Because I feel like McLaughlin's definitely the better receiver, and like
he's
more
quick.
Like quick. Lightning to Williams is thunder.
Yeah, because he's the like bull rush, like heavy hitter.
Up the middle, 1 yard line. He'll probably get the ball a little more. I don't know. I think it was early. There were times, though. I mean, it definitely was. I think everyone in Denver, and again, this is why last week is the best week of the season when your hopes are high, right?
Yep.
Now everyone can kind of come crashing down.
Back to reality.
I think we all thought this offense was going to be top half of the league even, right? Like, hey, let's see them be the 16th best. The 16th best?
No! I can name 16 teams better than us.
No. I mean, that is what I was hoping for, to see them not be in the bottom, the bottom few teams. I mean, but that offense was still atrocious. So.
Yeah, I would hope to see us in top 15, but honestly, like, I thought we would be like, I'll give us high teens, be like 18, 17, 18.
All right.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if there's really like.
Let's say this. I didn't want them in the bottom 25%.
I'll be honest. I was like, when I was going to say a number, I thought it was going to be in the 20s. And I'm like, 20 doesn't make sense.
You said like one number above.
I know. I was like, oh, that's not even a difference.
You prices righted me.
I did.
I went like $1 above.
Gotcha.
Dang. But yeah, they didn't look good, and it was frustrating because it kind of looked like the same offense we'd seen the past few years, like since Peyton Manning. And I hope that they work their way into being a little more exciting. At this point, I mean, I certainly don't see them. I think it'll be a development year for this team, and hopefully everyone's on board for that because it's a full-on rebuild.
I'm fine with that, so we can get Travis Hunter.
Yeah, if he survives the season.
Right. Right. That was atrocious.
Yeah. That was a rough game. And CU, I mean, that hits kind of close to home. Although I like Deion. My mom went to high school with Deion Sanders, and so
really,
that's
pretty cool.
North Fort Myers High. And she was a couple years younger than him, but I always kind of root for him, even though I typically don't gravitate towards super arrogant players. But for some reason, the team, I can't. They talk so much.
I'm not for it. That's why I'm a Texas fan.
Going Texas?
Texas.
I mean, I'm a Gators fan. We lost.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I just started liking college football just because I started playing NCAA.
It's the best.
So like, I'm a fan as of like 14 days. Yeah. So that's why it's for
fresh
Texas.
in, yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah.
I'm a freshie.
I mean, what I feel like the NCAA has lost a little bit to me is with the transfer portal, you can't like fall in love with a developing player like you used to be able to. Like even Anthony Richardson, for example, it's like I think it was Felipe Franks who was the starter before him. Maybe it was Trask. I can't remember who, but Anthony Richardson would get subbed in. They'd go out and like flashes of really good stuff. And then he became the starter and you like watch this. With the transfer portal, I just don't feel like that's the thing anymore. It's like you just kind of go to a new spot and it's good for the players. Like go somewhere where you can, get a chance to.
So you can pop your name in somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Get a chance to play. If you're, the third string running back, but you could be the second string somewhere. It's like that might make sense for you trying to build a career and like no shame on that. More in a moment.
Yeah.
And we're back. So we were talking about just the NCAA and kind of how things have changed a little bit from when I first fell in love with it, but it doesn't make it bad. It makes it more exciting because you can also turn your program around way faster. And so, I mean, Texas is a good example of that.
They are, and they breed a lot of NFL players too.
Well, and as a 14-day-old Texas fan, how do you feel about Arch Manning? I think that's what we all.
That was the whole reason I'm a Texas fan.
You're following.
I was like, they're set up with they're set up with Arch, so I'm like, all right, They had the longevity. Let's go for it. I know Shador and Travis are going in the draft this year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm a fan of the players, not the team. Go Texas.
All right. Dang. Arch. Supposed to be the best of all of them.
Yeah, that's what we'll see he had a fairly decent game against CSU.
Was he the starter? No, I didn't watch. Yeah, I didn't think he was.
He didn't. It's Ewers.
Oh, yeah, he was pretty good.
But he is pretty good. Yeah. He's the favorite for the Heisman.
Yeah. I think speaking of trophies and, what could be happening, and the Heisman's always so tough. You're new to college, let me tell you. Like, 2 games in, it will be someone different.
That's what I figured. I'm just like.
It's pretty much, yeah. But the same could be said about the MVP conversation, and right now, you would be lying if Derek Carr wasn't.
Oh my goodness!
Wasn't getting a little look,
which is crazy.
He played so good. The Saints played great.
They did, and Bryce Young looks like he's a rookie still. Yeah. Like he does not look good. And the Saints. Did you see that clip of Derek Carr? He's like, "I have 3 touchdowns on you." That was so funny. I was like, "What a G!" That was the Raiders swag right there. I was like,
totally. Yeah, he learned that. Yeah, he learned that in Oakland.
Yeah, hate the Raiders
or Vegas or
both.
Was he there when they were in Oakland?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hate the Raiders. Ugh.
Yeah. As a Broncos fan, that's they are an enemy. And they looked
dysfunctional.
Yeah, they looked into. Brock Bowers did all right.
Yeah,
he had an okay game.
Minshew can't.
Yeah.
I mean, he targeted Devontae, so that's something he hasn't gotten in a while.
Yeah.
But 6 targets isn't bad.
No.
But
I mean, I think Devontae's leaving there. So
I want him to. Yeah. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Speak into existence.
Speak it in. But yeah, I thought so Derek Carr looked incredible. And
Derek
how
Carr,
about that boy Donald? Sam Darnold.
What was I saying? He's been looking pretty good. I've been on the
I've liked Darnold.
I know we both
I liked him when
have
he
been
was a Jet and was drafted. I was like, he's got wheels, he's like big. He seems to have he throws it to the right spot. He's just been on these terrible teams. I mean,
we both were on the Donald.
What if Darnold is similar to Geno Smith, like becomes the
Ooh.
starter, and McCarthy gets his Jordan Love 3 years as a backup experiment?
McCarthy sucks anyway, so it's probably what he needs.
I think a lot of times when you're coming right out of college, and I think we saw it a lot this weekend, it is a learning curve. Like, they are all the best players on their college team that are on the NFL. You know, Yeah,
I played with Oregon last night in NCAA.
Oh, most fun.
They're awful. I hated it.
What?
I love playing with Alabama. I was like, I think it might have just been the left-handed QB.
I mean, you played with CU though, right?
Yeah.
Hunter he's a 99 in the game.
Is it gross?
He's so good.
So
he's
gross.
so fast. Like, it's fun, man.
Just
you
a streak all the way on this.
Every time, especially if they're in press man coverage. You just like run that straight. That's that old that Madden thing. Or then if they back off, I mean, there are like cheat codes in this game.
Do a press screen.
Exactly. Or run a hook.
Yep.
And because the DB will turn around, you'll get your first down. It's easy. I buy them every year. I just bought the new NBA, which is supposed to be very good. I've heard, the issue is all these games, Madden included, it's the same game as the last year. And so I tell myself if I'm ever disappointed, like next year I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to just download the new roster. I'm doing that, and I never do. I just buy it.
Just buy the new one.
I just want to play I'm big on like the superstar mode, or like, when you're that one player. But in Madden, it's so glitchy, I can't play it.
Really?
It sucks, man. Yeah.
I was thinking about buying Madden because they just dropped it for $60, the deluxe version.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah.
I'm like, do I? Yeah, like still. That's why I'm still up in the air about it, because my brother made a good point. He said the release must have flopped, and that's why.
I think people are really starting to like push back and wanting a little more. If we're buying a whole new game, you have to
give
develop
us something
a whole
more.
new game.
Yeah,
don't just update rosters and like change the landing page.
Yeah,
good,
I'm a big Ultimate Team player, so like, don't make it the same challenges. Don't give us the same cards. Like, don't make them look the same. Like, you can make the game look better. I didn't know Ronnie 2K was making this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They're one of my favorite players in Madden to play with, and this is a Gators bias for sure, is Anthony Richardson, who actually had a really interesting week.
9 completions, but 2 of them for 40+ yard touchdowns.
Well, and so that was always his big thing, is he has an absolute nuclear missile launcher for an arm.
Yeah.
Like Jamarcus Russell level, like from his knees can throw that thing 100 yards, like crazy. And he's big and strong, and so had some rushing touchdowns. He
had 44 points in fantasy.
Yeah, he ruled. He ruled. And he is the quarterback in my dynasty league, and so I was very apprehensive. I was like, he didn't look good in preseason. He's still. I don't know that he's ever going to play like that surgeon quarterback. He's not going to be the Matt Stafford's. That's not him.
Yeah.
It is just athletic prowess. He'll be able to get out of a collapsing pocket. He can throw it 90 yards in the air.
He wasn't throwing it to Pittman, though. That was I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it was the backup because Downs was out.
14.
So what was his name?
It was Alec Pierce.
Thank you, Alec Pierce.
Yeah, I was like, why is Pittman not getting anything? Yeah. And, Pierce was just getting them all. And I know he's been there for a little bit, but come on, man. It's Pittman.
I mean,
it's supposed to be his quote-unquote year.
Yeah. They almost took it from the Texans, who, I mean, I had the Texans winning, but it was a fun game.
I also had the Texans. Yeah, I thought Nico was going to score a touchdown. That ruined a lot of my parlays were ruined. It was more than just one thing. Let's be honest.
I never bet on touchdowns. I'll bet on a quarterback to like throw it. I'll be like, I'll throw a touchdown. I will never guess what receiver. I
like to do that. I love to do player props. And Honest, actually, he hit 2 parlays. He hit the one that I showed you, and then he hit an anytime touchdown.
That was like the ultimate gift of parlays, though. So, so one of Austin's like buddies, he had it. Well, he was in our league too.
Yeah, he's in our fantasy league,
and has a pretty solid team. He had this thing that parlay that included Christian McCaffrey, who was out, and they were just like, oh, since he's out, like never mind, we'll honor.
Just void it.
Instead of a 5-leg parlay, it just became a 4, and he hit. And it was like that was the most generous thing I've ever heard from a gambling site. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, because normally FanDuel's like eat it. Like, eat it hard.
It was like you said he was going to have 10 receiving yards. He did not have 10 receiving yards.
He was not. Yeah, he was has 0.
Sorry he was out. That seems like a you problem, not a our money problem.
Right, and I'm thankful that they paid him out because, geez, what a win.
Yeah. I mean, so Richardson, I do feel like was exciting.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
Justin
excited.
Jefferson owners were all very relieved.
Yeah, especially Tabby. I bet she.
I have to eat a little. Yeah, she was very excited because when she was playing the guy who called her.
Yes.
Pick trash,
oh my
and
goodness.
She smoked him.
So this
she
kid
almost scored 200 on him.
Really?
Like,
this kid was. Don't get me wrong.
We love him.
We love him. He's
young
a kid.
And very confident.
Exactly.
In his one YouTube video he watched.
Well, and the fact he drafted 5 rookies, and then he drafted Caleb Williams and dropped him for Baker Mayfield. I was like, should have just drafted him in the first place.
Yeah.
Or not drafted Caleb Williams. But like,
who would have thought though, Baker? I mean,
I would have thought. I was like, I thought he was gonna keep it hot, but I didn't think it'd been that hot.
Yeah.
Like I would have started him if I knew that.
Oh man.
Like I didn't even pick him up because I'm like, oh, he's not gonna be like end of the year Baker. He's gonna be like decent, but like the teams they're playing
solid like bye week fill in.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's looking way better. I mean, but it's not like he threw for 600 yards. He threw for like 280.
That's that was honestly, I think might be second to third most because Stafford had 317 or whatever.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is Anthony Richardson threw 9 passes for 240 yards,
which is crazy.
I mean, it's no big deal.
No big deal.
He's got that rocket arm.
What a gator!
What a gator! What a gator! I hope that he pans out. And actually, like I was thinking about it. Remember when Cam Newton he threw like 400 yards in his rookie? I think his first game as a rookie, he threw for 400. Something crazy.
I hate Cam Newton.
Yeah, he's not aged well. He did not age into someone that we loved.
No, he's not. But yeah,
but
he was a very like. He was good coming out of the first couple of years, but then he came out arrogant and gross and just like...
Yeah, the end of his career is very, very sad.
It was, and then honestly, when we played him in the Super Bowl, I was so happy that we won.
And won by just destroying him.
Yeah, like we won by our defense specifically.
Yeah.
Like it came to a point where he was scared. Like he didn't even want to jump for that fumble.
Yeah, true. I mean, and I think, what made him so great was his size and, his formidability.
He's almost like Anthony Richardson. It's like they're almost like the same players. Like this, almost like
on paper, Anthony Richardson's better.
Exactly.
Right?
I was gonna say
faster,
like body
stronger,
comparison wise, you have like.
But we'll see. Cam had a great career. So,
he did.
I mean, hey, he at least went to some Super Bowls. There are plenty of quarterbacks that never make it, including all of the Cowboys quarterbacks who've never even been since 1990.
I would say 30 years.
Yeah.
But
speaking of running quarterbacks doing it all, Josh Allen. I was wrong. I said Josh Allen was in trouble, and he looked very good.
Yeah, I could not believe it. I almost went in and put money on the Cardinals to win because they were like plus 240, and I was like,
I had money on the Cardinals because I was like, they're looking good. Harrison did not do anything.
Nothing, and then Kyler
1 catch for 4 yards.
And so they went to him once, he dropped it, and then they went right back to him, and then they threw it to him one more time, and that was the end of him. He did 55 snaps.
It's almost like he needed to play preseason.
Oh,
like maybe you shouldn't sit it out when you're a rookie. Like maybe you need
after
those reps.
You especially didn't do any of the combine.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't do any of the combine deals, right?
Yeah. And again, he thought what he had on tape was good enough.
Yeah.
And if I had that tape, I wouldn't want people to realize I ran. If it's like a 4.55, I wouldn't want people to know that. You want to get drafted. It would only have hurt him, right? And so I think that's why he didn't. Like he was already going to be the first wide receiver taken.
Yeah.
So why? And I get that actually. But he also just wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, his quarterback's too short to see over the line.
Yeah.
Because he was wide open.
Good, though,
he did,
Kyler
he did.
Balled. He looked real good.
Yeah, Kyler did. I still can't believe he missed Marvin on that. Did you see? It was wide open.
I had them kind of on. They were on the red zone watch because of the games and what was going on. So I don't know that I.
So last couple minutes, they're down by 6. Marvin Harrison Jr. 7-yard line, wide open, both hands up.
Oh, I did see that. I saw that clip. Yeah, and he just didn't see him. Or
I don't know. Yes, I was just like.
But I think what happened. I think he was wide open because the cornerback left him to go get. I think Kyler rushed it or something. And the cornerback, you watch him in that clip. He runs away from him towards something. So either he got I mean, it was the most convincing play action of all time, or like they took it as like, that's what I would almost need to see that whole play because he was open, but what the cornerback he ran away from him. So
that
I'm
makes
assuming
sense.
that meant that Yeah.
So how do you feel as a Marvin Harrison Jr. fantasy owner?
Not great. Like in Dynasty too.
That was your Dynasty, yeah.
So like, I picked up the best player on waivers last week because I needed a running back, and that best player in this Dynasty, which you have a taxi squad for like rookies that you can put. It's like your rookie bench, then you have your bench, and so they're all deep teams. The best player was Miles Sanders, and so that's how bad. Like, there's no players to be found in this league. There are not waiver wire pickups. Like, that is not how this works. And so I need Marvin Harrison to be really good.
You're like, I need it. Yeah,
I've got big money Gabe Davis and OBJ. It's dire. This team that I took over was so bad that it. But I got some irons in the fire. But Tank Dell also underperformed. I almost probably should have traded him at the Diggs acquisition, but I don't know. I still think he could do something.
It's hard because I thought Tank Dell, and it's almost like next week. I think Diggs got a lot of it this week. Next week is going to be those other guys. So either that Tank Dell anytime, or I really think Nico is going to get in the end zone next week.
Yeah, I mean Nico was a big part of the game plan.
A 55-yard catch.
Yeah,
set up Diggs touchdown.
I guess I just thought at the third wideout that Tank Dell would be getting all of these underneath passes, but they didn't need to because Mixon was getting 8 yards a carry.
I couldn't believe
you didn't need to throw it underneath because it's like just hand it to Mixon. Like, what are you talking about? He's going to run for 8 yards. 2nd and 2. Let's go.
Yeah,
they did
just right behind Tinsel.
30. What do you have? 30 rushes?
I think so.
He ran so much. I was almost like, all right, give some to Dameon Pierce just to keep Mixon fresh. But,
right. This isn't.
He's a workhorse though, man.
Yeah, workhorse for sure. I mean, he spent a lot of time in Cincy just being the only guy.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and speaking of running backs, Ramondre had a good game.
Really good, and I don't even know. I almost was thinking a Jacoby Brissett led Patriots team, but I'm like, it wasn't led by him. It was led by Ramondre.
Yeah,
and if it wasn't for him, that game might not have. It was already close. It was already ugly. It was already gross.
Yeah.
But the Bengals might have ended up actually winning if it wasn't for Ramondre.
What people forget, and I think that we're going to start, I'm calling this out now. I don't know if it's going to be in 5 years, in 10 years, or this year. I think there's going to be a team, and New England seems the closest to it, that they're like, we are a ground and pound our way to a Super Bowl team. We're going to have really good defense, and we're going to get 5 yards rushing every time to where we just do these long, slow drives. So your flashy wide receivers, enjoy that. They're going to be sitting on the bench while we do this 11-minute drive for a touchdown. And it actually, kind of is a brilliant game plan given the weapons that they have. And I mean, most markedly, no real wide receiver, no real quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So luckily, they have a great running back, and I almost like that as a game plan. It's like if you don't have that, there were teams that won Super Bowls with that
just
strategy.
Stack your O-line like crazy so they constantly give a hole and then
I mean, some might argue
pound.
The Cowboys, at their best under Dak were when Zeke had that O-line and was just, 6 yards to carry.
Speaking of Zeke, the number one running back has a Cowboy, which is gross.
Oh, he's the number one not in fantasy.
Not in fantasy.
One touchdown. I don't know what.
No, number one for the Cowboys.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. He's what Zeke has going for him, and this was always a huge, huge plus for him, is that he's such an incredible blocker.
Yeah,
that.
He's almost like the George Kittle.
Yeah, and then throw him a pass, he'll catch it. He is definitely not at the top speed of many other NFL running backs, but it's he can hit an A gap with some force, and he's still has some thunder thighs and get some push going, and so I
eating ginormous bowls of cereal.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that Zeke was a product of that offensive line, and it turned out to be true.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't make Zeke bad. I mean, he went from Ohio State with an incredible offensive line. You're new to college football, Ohio State. They typically, I'm just gonna mansplain college football every time it comes up.
Ohio State is normally pretty good.
They tend to be. I mean, they're also one of those really annoying teams.
I would say I don't like.
Oh no. What's so funny is that is the one common bond my Pac-12, Oregon, I guess now Big Ten with Ohio State, but that is the one bond that she and I had over college football, and I feel like we figured that out on our first date. Like, I probably in passing was like, yeah, and also like, fuck Ohio State. And I think she was like, yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Marry me right now. Like, we're good. I'm good. I know all I need to know. But yeah, Ohio State is the worst. But they do have, I mean, they always have a very good team with a good offensive line. I mean, I guess I really don't know pre-Urban Meyer. I didn't really keep as big of tabs on them. But yeah. And so Zeke has had a good offensive line his entire national media career where you've seen him play. And I think the Cowboys still have a decent one, so I think he'll be all right.
I think so. Yeah. And, I mean, another running back that surprised us, Jordan Mason.
Yeah, he filled in great for CMC last night. Like, and ran hard, too. He was
152 yards and a touchdown.
Running through people.
Yeah.
Like, it was when you see him, he's bigger than CMC, but he's not like Derrick Henry size.
Exactly.
He's not huge. And, I mean, he was not avoiding contact.
Exactly.
I think he was like, this is my moment.
Yeah, and, I mean, talking about a team that is could be ground and pound, I mean, he ran the ball 28 times.
Yeah. What do you give Rodgers, like, at the end of this year, he demands a trade from the Jets? What do you think?
I don't know, because it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
In reality, because
Garrett
Wilson
couldn't stop the offense.
Well,
so he's going to be on another.
So I guess you're right.
I was thinking Packers. Instead of Devontae, he has Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I was thinking of just like offensive wise, like they didn't have an issue, but yeah, defensively, it's because Reddick. Why he's just sitting out?
Yeah,
he wants a new contract, but I'm like, buddy, you just got traded to this team. At least play.
Yeah, it's weird. And Sauce was out a little bit, but like not injured. He was out, not injured. He was like. The medical staff was like, no, he can go, and just was out some plays. Like, it was very weird.
That is pretty weird.
So I don't know what's going on over there, but not gonna lie, Rodgers still has an absolute missile. Like that.
Yeah, that touchdown to Lazard.
That touchdown to Lazard, which was the most Rodgers play ever. You draw him off sides, you have a free play, and like just having been married to a diehard Green Bay fan and being a Green Bay fan myself, you've just seen it so many times where he's like, cool, I'm going to throw it into triple.
Oh, yeah, it's going.
Like, they intercepted. Who cares? And him and his boy Lazard. Lazard looked good.
Yeah, he did. And Mike Williams didn't get a single touch.
I think, and Aaron Rodgers didn't play in the preseason. So, I mean, you got to go with the receiver you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's probably what's happening. I mean, and again, the preseason exists for that purpose. So week one, you're like in sync.
Exactly. You guys are kind of back into the sync of it. Like, oh, we were gone for some months.
But Garrett Wilson looked good.
Oh, yeah, he did. And finally, it looked nice to finally see them play together. Because he caught his first 4 passes.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like from Hard Knocks, which, it's always fun to get the inside scoop, but he seems incredibly smart, too. He seems like very, very, like understands like the game. I don't know.
Like Jaylen Brown-esque.
Yeah, I mean,
just not like as genius.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like doing TED Talks or like teaching courses, but he seems like very. I don't know, something about him. I was like, oh, he's not a Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
like I'm sitting out giving my money and all that. He seems like he's like committed to being a very good player and wants to have a great NFL career. And all respect to Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, his former teammate, did not act that same way in his contract negotiations. He was never going to sit out. He knew that he was going to get paid, and just kind of went with it and didn't, demand $1 more than the. It's just dumb. Like at a certain point, you're just being petty. And I don't know. I hope that that Garrett Wilson has extended success and that Rodgers, and him, I wouldn't mind seeing the Jets being like, okay. I don't think they're a contender. I don't think they have.
I want to see them in the playoffs. Yeah. Like that would be a team if they get if they get it together, it would be cool to watch. Like,
yeah, I mean, they have all the ingredients. Great running back. Great
Breece Hall, man.
A defensive superstar in Sauce Gardner, as long as whatever happened to him, isn't debilitating in any way. He should be good. I mean, and so I don't know. I wouldn't mind them being good, but I know that the second that they are, and the second that Jets fans start talking, I'm going to be like, never mind.
You're like, this is not what I want anymore.
No, I don't want that at all.
You're like, I'm sick of it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was a fun week.
Yeah, it was nice. It's so nice to have football back.
Yeah.
it's just it's been long missed.
Yeah. Do you have anyone you're have your eye on for this week in like fantasy pickups, or a player that you think is gonna go off? Or I mean, what do you? I think this next game is gonna be a big. I think Marvin Harrison's gonna get a lot of looks.
I think you are right with that, and I think Bijan might be someone who might actually like see a little bit. You might see more from. Honestly, I'm like Nico is someone who just keeps coming to mind as like touchdown. He'll probably get 100 yards again, like roughly around what he had, but I think a touchdown is coming his way. I'm trying to think like
I think cause for alarm, like the things that I would be worried about is if Amon-Ra had like 2 catches for 8 yards the next game.
That's
then
gonna be a big
in,
worry.
Like, concern mode. Same with Laporta. Like they weren't. Goff wasn't. I mean, he's throwing more picks than he's thrown.
Well, yeah,
it's been wild.
That the OT drive was one pass to the running back,
right,
and then it was all Demont.
Yeah,
just rushing, and I was like, well, Demont fantasy owners must be really happy because he just got 42 yards and a touchdown on one drive.
Yeah, I mean I really thought that he would be in the same way that Achane kind of. I thought Gibbs was going to do that same thing.
I thought so too, and that's what I wrote on this year. I
Yeah.
got Gibbs in a couple leagues. I'm like, what's going to happen? Demont's going to take a step back.
Yeah.
And nope, I was wrong. Speaking about Demont, you want to hear an absolute fleece?
What?
In Miss Footer's Fantasy League. I don't know if I told you about this. So there was a trade that went down. Brandon Ayuk. Someone received Brandon Ayuk, and that person gave away Garrett Wilson and David Montgomery.
Wow. I mean, yeah. Who would trade that? Who would trade a starting running back and a starting wide receiver for Ayuk, who's like, was he option 4 on that team? Doesn't it go? Was it you?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was a bearded fellow of a Niners fan.
Oh dang. Wait, is that Sammy T?
A-Rod.
A-Rod. Oh dang.
Yeah,
man.
He traded Garrett Wilson and
Montgomery?
And Montgomery.
That's too much. Like,
for Ayuk.
You could maybe make the argument for Wilson, but I guess if you didn't think that Montgomery was going to do anything, but he also must have just drafted Montgomery. Like, why would you draft someone just to trade him immediately?
I don't know. I think he's a big Niners fan, so I know he probably wanted Ayuk. But I mean,
whoever traded him,
Anthony's running to the bank.
He knew that he was a Niners fan. He was
yeah.
like, well, I got Ayuk just sitting here. I might just bench him. And he's like, no, not to my precious Brandon Ayuk. And
then it comes out that Brandon's getting a lower role.
He's always been getting a lower role.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? Like, it's been literally, here are who they try to give touches to. McCaffrey's number 1. Debo's number 2. Kittle's number 3. Ayuk is number 4. Like, yeah. That's what's happening. He might be under Jordan Mason now. We don't even know. And Ayuk is an incredibly talented player. It's just like, that's probably why he wanted to leave the 49ers.
And so they gave him an ultimatum. It's like, you're either going to stay with the 49ers or you're going to the Steelers. What do you want?
He was like, not Russell Wilson, bro.
Justin Fields era, baby.
Yeah, that was crazy. And I think that
wild.
you have to maybe admit your mistake in saying it was the Purdy drop-off year. Because he looked pretty good, man. I'm not going to lie. I was with you,
At first
though.
he didn't.
I wasn't
At first he
disagreeing.
didn't.
I was like,
and then
he had like 2 inaccurate passes in preseason, and I ran with that. I was like, I think, he was the last pick, all that.
Come to earth.
Irrelevant. Yeah, it's like, now you are irrelevant, and he looked really good. So he actually looked incredible.
Yeah.
And so
it was
it's a rough one. I mean, I thought Caleb Williams was going to come in lights out, and he couldn't do anything. And then I have to say, in regards to his media persona, I very much don't like Caleb Williams.
I don't.
Like,
yeah,
I don't like when he was like, yeah, man, it just like is what it is, and blah blah blah, and I don't know. I just felt like I feel like on Hard Knocks it was weird that he told his coach he's never been nervous in his life.
Yeah,
that
like, was pretty weird.
And so coming out of second half when they were down, I went to my wife and was like, do you think he's nervous right now? Like, do you think he's a little worried that they're down? And
I would.
I don't know. He says stuff and I don't like it. It makes me like him less when he says things.
You're like, just close your mouth. Don't
yeah,
talk.
just go out. If you never talked, it was kind of like how I didn't know what Mahomes' voice was for like 5 years, and then when he talked, he talks like Kenny Powers. It was like the best. I had no idea, and it was like that's Patrick Mahomes' voice because you just like see him play. I'm not Kansas City. I'm not like watching interviews about Kansas City. At that time, they weren't nearly as covered as they are now. You know, and
Tay-Tay, baby.
Yeah, man. And I mean, but that was. The fact that Mahomes like hid his wife from us for so long was probably good for him, right? Because she was a little wild, like,
and his brother,
favorite.
His brother's wild.
Like he's toxic group around him.
The TikToker,
and that hasn't worked against him. But every time Caleb Williams would talk, you'd be like, I mean, that was like a super arrogant way of saying like, no, I should be okay. I'm not
right. Yeah,
I've never been nervous. It's like I bet you.
I'm
going to
be great.
Like, what are you talking?
What
about?
do you mean you're not
and
scared?
Then he has to on Hard Knocks like perform in front of like the whole team. And he says 2 words of it and then stops and is like just playing along. And it's like, it almost is like you were nervous.
It's like you're scared.
It's like you were nervous to sing, like, which isn't bad. It's just when you say you never get nervous, I'm only going to look for times that you get nervous.
You're like, oh, here was the time.
I don't know why it made me so angry, but it made me like, I'm actively rooting against this poor child.
I was like that for the Ball brothers.
Yeah.
I hated LeVar. So I hated it like in high school. Like I don't even remember what year Lonzo or LaMelo was, but I was like, you're awful. I hate you. You suck. You guys aren't making the league. You're garbage.
Yeah.
And like I like LaMelo.
LaMelo can ball. He's just
he can.
bird bones.
Exactly.
So.
And I don't like Lonzo still. I will never get down on that shot, and I think that the fact that people thought he was so good is like what drove me so insane.
I think that his dad definitely helped hype them. I think that Lonzo's success actually like or his lack of success worked against LaMelo because I think LaMelo was good. And honestly, if he was on a team that wasn't Charlotte, if he was on an actually relevant
like the
team,
Warriors, they should have drafted him.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, and I think everyone was just like, we don't want to deal with his dad. Like,
no one wanted it.
This guy's the worst. And so, I mean, I think that a lot of the hype that probably made Lonzo a number 2 overall pick. And this is hilarious. We figured out our way to NBA. We always do, and we always will.
Right.
But I mean, LeVar made himself like the least likable person.
Yeah,
like, it
and
literally
then
was just like, why are you the way you are?
It didn't help. LiAngelo went and stole stuff from China.
Oh man, yeah.
Got lost a scholarship at UCLA. Like did all those things. Like you dumbass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like
he stole.
People take things, and you know it is what it. Obviously not good, but
he shouldn't. Well, like he stole
wasn't good
fake
at basketball, or else it wouldn't care.
Exactly. Yeah,
like
he
Miles no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was sorry. I was just saying he didn't steal. Like he stole fake product. Like why even?
Yeah, Miles Bridges. His son pleaded for his dad to stop beating his wife as he plays in the NBA, and so like
that makes me so sad.
When you have a level of talent, I also, and again, I will never defend it. I'm hoping that there were indicators in rehabilitation, and that's
therapy,
something that is like a
like
part of this, and like it could be, you know, it obviously is atrocious, and if he were to have been sentenced to prison, I would have, of course, right? If there's the evidence there, done. I will never defend that, but he wasn't. You know, there wasn't conclusive evidence. Like they you know, there were no charges ended up, you know, being pressed against him, to my knowledge, and so. I also believe in rehabilitation of people, and like you messed up once when you were like 25, and I get it. It's a huge mess up. Do not lay your hands on anyone. But I don't know. It doesn't. I wouldn't not if the Hornets were in the finals against the Nuggets, I would not go to that finals. I'm like, no, I can't. You know, I would hope that there are clear checkpoints for him to get the help that he clearly needed, and if that also meant that his wife or girlfriend or whoever, you know, left him, great. Do it. So, but I think for, what is it, LiAngelo?
Yeah.
He just wasn't good at basketball.
He wasn't. And it was proven because he was on,
slow, and
he was
like
on
6'4".
teams. Like he was on G League teams. He made NBA teams and they never played him.
Yeah.
Like they kept him up and down as a 2-way. So like, he had opportunities and he never made it.
Yeah, just didn't have the talent, and I think that's okay. I don't think it was, you know, the whole China thing. But then there's also guys Mac McClung, who I feel like has been awesome. He randomly just like wins dunk contests, and that's it. And he's on the Magic now.
He is really.
Let's go. Yeah,
that's awesome. So funny that you bring up the dunk contest. So FanDuel had this prop back on this last All-Star game. It was like anyone but McClung to win the All-Star or the dunk contest.
Yeah.
And I was all in for it.
Yeah.
And of course I lost because he won the dunk contest.
Oh, this past year.
Yeah, this last year.
Coming up, I was like, could he three-peat that? They won't let him.
They might.
He's kind of got the Nate Robinson vibe because he's like 5'10".
Yeah, he's tiny.
Yeah, he's a short king. I mean, that's not small for life.
No.
That's just small for the NBA, where the average size is, 6'6", probably? Like,
yeah.
That's 8-inch difference. That matters.
Oh, man. Imagine looking up at Wemby being like Muggsy Bogues size.
Gosh, yeah, that would be...
That's new Bull picture and him and all over again.
Yeah, true. Man. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like week 1 of football is going to be exciting. We have a fun week 2. Let's actually look really quick. I want to see what some of these matchups
I know we got the Bills and the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So
Bills, Dolphins. Then for the 11 a.m. games, let's see what we got here. Niners, Vikings.
Ooh, Sam Darnold.
Seahawks, Patriots. Not going to watch that.
Not at all.
Giants, Commanders. Not going to watch that.
That's good for Jaden, though. That's going to be really good for... Oh, my goodness. I forgot to say. Do you know that Daniel Jones has more pick sixes thrown than he has picks?
Saw that.
That's so bad. So bad.
It was... what a good momentum for Saquon. And coming back and dominating and being like, I'm so happy. Like, and honestly, for a player like that, you don't want him on this rebuilding team where he just gets,
beat up.
Think of, so my favorite running back growing up was LaDainian Tomlinson. If you remember him, he was so good.
He was.
But they never did anything. The Chargers never were. Like, it was such a
they
bummer.
were such a mediocre team.
Yeah.
Like, middle.
Yeah, I mean, that was the Rivers era, and Phillip Rivers was an okay. I mean, he wasn't bad; he was a good quarterback, but
him and his 10 kids.
Yeah, man, so many kids.
Crazy.
But
they have a whole offense over there.
I was just so happy to see Saquon actually get to be on a team, and
that
he'll
matters,
get a lot of national games too. Although randomly the Giants get all sorts of national media games.
It's just because they're New York.
Yeah. So the NFC East, and it's like my least favorite division. So anyway,
Giants,
Commanders, that's 11. We have Chargers, Panthers.
Weak.
Yeah. Saints, Cowboys.
I think the Saints might actually win that. Might throw.
Yeah.
They're going to be the underdogs too, so might throw some money line on that.
Game of my best looking 11 a.m. game. Oh, there's actually 2 pretty good ones. Colts, Packers. That one will
That's
be
going to be awesome.
That'll be fun. Browns, Jags. That'll be all right.
Jets, Titans. Kind of like it. Bucks and Lions.
That's the other one.
I really like it.
Really
I like
fun to watch. Raiders,
Ravens. And last year the Lions played the Bucks last year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. And Amon-Ra smoked them.
Yeah.
So this is the game. This is
it.
This is like that's who's gonna score another touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's been so good. I don't think he all of a sudden got bad at football.
No, I just think it was a welcome to the season.
Right. Yeah.
Game.
Got to figure it out, and
sucks. I found out the hard way.
That does suck a little bit. But yeah, then outside of that, the 2 p.m. games out here, that'd be 4 Eastern or
4 Eastern
Pacific. But those games, Rams Cardinals at 2:05 Mountain Standard.
That's gonna be good.
Bengals Chiefs would be fun.
Dude,
hopefully.
I hope.
Hopefully.
Do you think Jamar practices this week?
I would hope he practices.
Like, are you gonna have to try and learn the playbook 30 minutes before the game again? Like,
that's wild. I hope that's not. I mean, you'd think even if he was sitting out, he would be learning the playbook, but
you'd hope.
Yeah, something was wrong. Steelers, Broncos, Russ back in Denver.
In Denver, that's why I say have him start.
That's why I think they started the calf injury thing. I don't think he's going to come play here. I think he likes to be liked, and so I think that will work against him. And I don't know. I mean, as a person, I also really don't like Russell Wilson as a person. But as a player, he just, wasn't going to be worth the contract that he signed. Luckily, the Broncos, and I've said this many times on this podcast, they had the foresight to be like, let's eat this money for 1 year.
Yeah.
It's going to suck, but we also will have a rookie quarterback in, so we're not paying any quarterback a lot. And then we'll be off that money. We're going to save hundreds of millions, and he's clearly not the guy. And I hope he does play. And again, I hope he plays poorly. Just because I randomly, like, Steelers fans kind of came out of the woodwork. I feel like people that were secret Steelers fans have been talking a lot, and it's like I don't agree.
Like,
I don't think your team's that good.
Right.
Bears, Texans.
For Sunday Night Football.
That's for Sunday? Ugh,
I
don't think that. I mean, let's go, CJ.
I would say
shred him. Yeah.
Let's see if Williams it's going to be first primetime game of his career, or like of his pro career.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, does he throw more than 120 yards?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope he has the weapons where he should be.
He does. Why? Yeah.
He has
why?
some great weapons. I mean,
and Keenan Allen barely got any touches.
Yeah. Adunze, little bit
He's on
involved.
a MRI.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Did he get hurt last week, or did he not play last week?
He did get hurt last week, I think. He did end up playing. He got some targets.
Game,
he got some targets, but he got an MRI. I think he has a sprained MCL.
That game was so boring. Red Zone was not giving it a lot of attention, and I wasn't going to watch it.
That was oof.
And then Monday night, Falcons, Eagles. That should hopefully be a really fun game.
I hope so, and maybe Bijan doesn't score. Just kidding. He's going to score.
I think it's going to be the Pitts party, man. I think the
you
old
back
pity
to back.
party. Yeah.
You think he'll go back to back games scoring touchdown?
Yes, but I think he's going to have like a bunch more catches. Because
I
I
hope
think
so,
that Cousins clearly, like, I don't know if it's an offensive line thing or what, but Cousins, you need that quick outlet.
Yeah, he addressed it that the offense just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, I guess that does it for this week. Definitely check us out on YouTube or Spotify. And yeah, we'll keep watching, keep talking about it, and exciting things on the horizon.
yeah, we'll check my mental health next week on how everything goes with fantasy.
I know. I almost feel like we need to like bring in our receipts from gambling. And,
don't
talk through it.
Let's do it. Next week we'll talk about
Yeah.
our week two receipts.
All right, cool. All right, well, everyone have a good week. We will
Later.
see you soon.